All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how a lot of these people don't understand what's coming for them in the day of Yahweh's judgment, man. Right? And I was watching some different videos of what apostles have did recently in regard to women, right? But all the same things that was said, and what elders and different brothers have been saying as well in regard to women. And it's always a topic that keeps coming up, man. That topic doesn't stop being talked about. And then even in terms of the whole, all these red pill people and all that, even they start talking about it. So you can say, oh, don't focus on what the red pill people are saying, and that's to a certain degree true, because they don't know what the hell is going on anyway. They only know when it comes to the women, but they don't even understand why the women are going on like that anyway, which is a result of the curses that we're under in Deuteronomy 28, right? Which I'll read it. 1 second. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm gonna get the scripture, man. Because the people don't understand that this thing when it comes to the women is because of a curse that we're under, right? So they're gonna keep acting like that until the kingdom. 1 second, Salakia. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you. So all of these women that we're seeing acting crazy as hell right now, really, if it was under the blessings, they would be tender and delicate. But right now, they're like a Rottweiler or a damn Cane Corso out here, right? They ain't no, or a pit bull. They ain't no righteous vessels, man. They ain't, right? And it's a topic that keeps coming up, man. Like it's of them videos, apart from when it speaks to apart from when we speak about videos on the new covenant or on the destruction of Babylon the Great or on the fall of Idumea, Esau, Edom, right? Those videos have got to be up there for the most passionate videos that you'll ever hear, man. Because when it comes to the topic of the woman, that's related to Esau anyway, because he made her be like that. His actions have caused her to be like the way that she is, right? Which would not set the foot of her soul, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot on the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eyes shall be either towards the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and towards her daughter. So all these people trying to make her like women are just victims in this world. No, they're actually not, because they've got an evil eye towards the men of their nation, the young men of their nation, and the young women of their nation. And they're actually part of the cause as to why all of them act a certain way. But this is the children's curse as well. The men having women that don't act right towards them is a punishment to the men. But then when you read verse 54 to verse 55, that's the punishment of the women, which they don't ever want to acknowledge that, man. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54 said that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. That's a punishment for the women. But they don't ever acknowledge that, and that's why when you go to Isaiah 3, right, I've never in all my life I've seen a woman almost on YouTube, she almost mentioned that, yeah, this is true, we actually are going through this. But she never mentioned that the reason why the so-called black woman can't grow no hair is because of her stinking attitude, man. She never mentioned that. But then it's not only the so-called black woman that's got a bad attitude anyway, because there's brothers out there that deal with Latino women and have got Latino wives and all that, so-called Latino and all that, Latina or whatever. And they say that they've got a stinking ass attitude too. And then there's men that don't deal with Eve from any other tribes, right? And then woman might be an Eve that looks like an Israelite foreigner, but she's still a demon as well. And until the kingdom comes, no man's not gonna ever not have a grievance with any woman. And then even the heathen that are not even under the curses, they've got a problem with women too. Because you've got Edomites that are on this red pill thing that they've still got a grievance, man. You've got men that are billionaires having divorces and having to give their wife billions. So it's all around destroyed down here between the men and the women. Women are used as like a a net to get access to men's money in this world, man. And even if the man ain't got none, they're still used as access to get him in as a net to catch him to get him in jail. And it's only men in this society that are expected to act responsibly, man. If a woman does something wrong and then somebody checks her on that, oh, that's a female. If a child does something wrong, oh, that's a kid. It's a child, right? But if a man does something wrong towards a man that he knows is physically more strong than him, people don't say, oh, you shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have acted crazy to that man when you know that he's stronger than you. If any of us just go up to Anthony Joshua and start running our mouths, right, and he just gives us one of those uppercuts that he gave to Vladimir Klitschko, people would be like, well, what was you thinking? Going up to him and talking like that? But in this world, women will go up to men exactly the same stature, right, and run their mouth. And then if the man does it to them, even though there's all this equality talk around here, they'll say, oh, but he was a woman. She wasn't a threat. Well, you obviously haven't been paying attention to the kind of things that women do. Because as far as I know, men are not the main unalivers of young children in the womb. It's women that do that. So they're very violent. To be honest with you, women are the main ones in this world that are the cause of young children that are still in the womb being unalived. That's very violent. That's very violent as far as I'm concerned. That's extremely violent. But men are the only ones that are ever expected to have some kind of control in this world, man. Children expect to have no control. Oh, that's a child. Women are damn sure not expected to have no control. Because even in these situations where these female adult teachers, right, are doing things with what are grooming, because that's the way that we would use if it was men, teenage boys, right, which is the same way that they'd use if it was girls doing it, right? They are made to not have to go to jail like how men would have to. So women are in this world are even given less accountability than so-called children in this world, man. They don't get the jail time and the scrutiny that men have to face when we do anything in this world, man. And the video that Apostle Gabar was going into, where he was talking about how he had a health problem, whatever it was that was happening, and then he went to try and get some aid for it, and it was like, oh, you earn too much, and then the spirit jumped on him and made him call out the BS of that institution, and the woman, how forced that woman to have to admit the truth. Yeah, you're right. And then she was so told the truth so much that he was like, I hope I'm not gonna get fired for admitting that, which shows how wicked this world is. Because when the hell should you get fired in this world for telling the truth? Shouldn't you get a promotion for telling the truth and being honest? But she was worried she was going to lose her job, which shows that this is the complete opposite to a righteous kingdom. But anyway, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16, moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Right? So that's a them problem. That's a them thing. Verse 17, therefore Yahweh will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts. In that day, Yahweh will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their corals, and their round tires like the moon. Jump down to verse 24, and it shall come to pass. In fact, I'm not going to jump down to verse 24, verse 19. The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers. So women that have got all this stuff where they're getting gassed up because they can put filters on online, and they've got their online version. Like, women have literally turned themselves in this world into meme coins, man, or turn themselves into NFTs, man, non-fungible token. They've got an online version of themselves that's completely different to the real life version, and they're trying to monetize the online avatar that they've made of themselves, and the online version of themselves is slimmer than what they really are. The eyebrows look different, the hair looks different, the face complexion looks different, the glutes more round. But then if you was to see these people in real life, you'd be like, man, what the hell? She looks like Jeepers Creepers out here. And then people Well, man, people are always, they're quick to just say anything about the men all the time, man. This whole world is trained to always blame men for everything, but then women and children are never expected to have to do anything. But the day the Lord is gonna get rid of all of that. The day of the Lord is gonna get rid of all of that, man. Verse 20: the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, boldness. And that's why you so-called black women ain't got no hair, man. But y'all ain't gonna admit that, because you'd have to be accountable that your attitude sucks. But you don't want to think that your attitude's got a problem, or you want to make excuses for why you acted like this. But then, like the same way how you women say, "Oh, but I'm acting like this because of these people acting like that towards me." You don't want to hear men say that about how they act towards you, though. Women want to say the reason why they don't respect so-called black men is because they don't make enough money, or they're not this, or they're not that, or they're bad fathers or whatever, right? But then can the children that ended up being raised by bad mothers say that the reason why they don't treat women with respect and why they don't like the so-called black woman is because of what their mom did? Or are you gonna say, oh, that's your mom and there's never no excuse to say anything about your mother? Can't you, like, is that how it goes? And we already know the answer. A brother recently, man, he ended up in a situation. I don't know the details of the situation, man. But that brother was not. I'm not even gonna say the person's name, man. That person was not seen for a while, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and that on none of the videos and nothing like that. I was like, man, what's up, man? And then I was praying for that particular person, man. They don't know, and I'm not saying the person's name for them to know, right? If the spirit makes it be whoever it was, but I was praying. I used to be praying and saying that particular person's actual name in the prayers, and then I found out what the situation was and how it ended up. Which I'm not saying it's because of my prayers. I'm not saying that because it's because of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and mercy on them. But a situation occurred that made them end up getting into something, man. But I'll guarantee if I was to find out the details, which is none of my business, the details, but I guarantee if I was, the person that antagonized that situation themselves, and then the moment that it started getting heated up and they couldn't handle it, now all of a sudden they want to try and call for the laws to be involved, man. And that's how it works in this world. People are antagonistic all day. And then the moment that things start going to the way where men might handle things some of the time, now there's quick time jumping on their camera and recording things, right? But when all hell breaks loose in this society, you're not going to be able to just catch the CCTV footage of what's happening. If you can't physically do anything in that time, the video footage ain't going to mean nothing, man. The video footage ain't going to mean nothing in that day. No one ain't going to care about your, oh, I'm recording you, just so you know you're on camera. People ain't going to care about that in the time to come. Women ain't going to just be walking around the streets disrespecting men that they don't know from anywhere. Men ain't going to be going around in the streets disrespecting men that they don't know from anywhere neither. Little children ain't going to be. The respect level towards men is going to go through the roof when all hell breaks loose, man. It's going to really go like that. Let me go to the end of Isaiah 3. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 25, that men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and the gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground, because women are already complaining about what's going on now anyway. They're already complaining, man. They're already complaining, and people can say whatever they want to say about, oh, it's because you ain't making enough money why you've got to complain. There's people that are rich that are complaining about women. Or it's because you're not handsome enough that you complain. There's people that are handsome that have got complaints about women. Or it's because you ain't got hair. There's people that have got hair that are complaining about women. Or it's because you got too much hair. There's people that ain't got hair that are complaining. Everyone's noticing it, man. And that's why in these situations now where the police show up and the woman's doing the tactics that used to work 10 years ago, a decade ago, where they'd get in an argument with a man, attack him, then get to the phone first and call the police. and then get the man arrested. Now the police officers are reviewing the situation properly according to justice, like they're supposed to, right? And they're realizing that, hang on, you actually assaulted him, and I ain't trying to hear that. Oh, but he made me mad, because you ain't trying to, you ain't trying to hear if a man goes upside your head because you made him mad. That you don't want that to be a worthy reason. And the spirit of let the women and children go on the boats, that Titanic demon, that ain't gonna be going on neither. When all hell breaks loose, or let the women and children eat first, mate. Nah, men are gonna have been tired of hearing that stuff, right? Men are gonna be tired of hearing that. Oh, that's a female, yo. Oh, that's a child, mate. They ain't gonna care. No one ain't gonna care about none of that when it goes down. And let me get a scripture on that, man. And this is talking about a prior time, but it can also be applied to now. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4, and Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Right? All of the people that have got a grievance with this society, Yahweh's putting marks on their head. So in the video, I hear people's anger, man. I hear people's anger towards Idumea. I hear people's anger towards women. I hear people's anger towards the unrighteousness of the society and how we're not under the new covenant. I hear people's anger towards their own wickedness that they know is within them. I hear people's anger towards the lack of brotherhood that we even have in our own nationality. I hear people's anger towards the lack of honor among 2/3 of Israelites, man. And how they also need to be judged, man. I hear things about anger towards the lack of diligence and how people are lying about the doctrine for filthy lucre's sake. I hear videos on the anger of people lying about how they're overly trying to be righteous and make out like they're keeping all the commandments when they know they're not. I hear videos about all kind of things, man. And all of the anger is justified, and all of the anger is going to lead to them being sealed in their heads, man, with the name of the Lord, given a thawah, not the karagma, the righteous mark, which is in Ezekiel 9 and 4. He's not talking about the same mark as in Revelation 13. And people that say that it is are just liars. And they're lying, trying to be slick. But how about you show some honor? And to the others he said in mind here in verse 5, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So there ain't gonna be no pity. Oh, that's a teenager. Not in Yahweh's eyes, it ain't. Oh, that's a woman, and no one ain't gonna care, man. When Noah's Ark, during the time of Noah, you think they weren't children in that time? You think they're all was adults? That you think 8 people were saved only in the whole earth at that time, right? And they were just all adults that drowned. That were all, you know what I mean? Nah. And they were all just, none of them were women. No. Oh, none of them were old. None of them were so-called old age pensioners. In fact, the majority of them were probably a hell of a lot older on average, or was reaching to a hell of a lot of older ages. The people that would be considered so-called old would have been a hell of a lot older than what people consider old now, because the world was healthier back then. And Howard only recently put his restrictions on the age that men would live back then, as opposed to now. Verse 6, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. And it's funny that it says women last, because it shows that with the most unbelievable person to get judgment in this world seems to be women. If a little child gets a smack or whatever, they'll be like, oh yeah, but he shouldn't have been talking like that. But then no one ever says that when it comes to women, though. And I'm not suggesting that nobody goes upside no woman's head, but I'm just making a point on the level of like disgustingness towards how everyone else supposedly it's okay for them to go through something, but then it never seems to be okay for women to have to go through anything, man. Children are expected to catch more hell in this world than women. But if you understand the scriptures, this whole society that we're living in right now, and the whole reason why death's in the world is because of women. And I'm gonna get a scripture on that so that no one can say, "Oh, this guy is just disgruntled incel." Yeah, okay. If you want to say that, it's not true though. But if you want to say that, then whatever, man. Because Pete, that's like you're just trying to make excuses. Because then that means you can say, "Oh, the reason why we're mad at Esau is because we're jealous." But it's actually Esau that the reason why he does what he does is because he's envious of us, according to Ezekiel 35. Is it Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 24? Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. So it's women's fault that people even die. But yet this world tries to make her like it's impossible for a woman to have to go for anything. And then after that, it's impossible that a teenager can have to go for anything. But then a teenager goes all the way up to 19, 18, which in some countries it's okay to drink alcohol in them country in that age. And in some countries, in a lot of them, it's okay for you to join the military. But then it's not okay for them to get judged though. Most of these people in this world with their hypocritical selves, they know that they lost their so-called virginity or whatever way before they ever reached 19, 18 years old. They know, especially the women, they know they did. But then they try and play hypocritical games in regards to those kind of things when they wasn't that age themselves. But then when a female teacher sleeps with a student, they don't look at it the same way as the woman that as a man that does it. And women will get on the comment board and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure I don't like that they're using the R word because I'm sure he was just kicking and screaming." Mate, when the hell does somebody have to be considered to be kicking and screaming according to this society for it to be considered that? When does that happen? But it's because women don't want women to be looked at the way how they enjoy trying to look at men, so that they can always get away with things, man. And when this society falls, there ain't gonna be no more games, man. Everyone's gonna get their chance. Like people are trying to have the court of public opinion on in life, and well, your opinion's not gonna matter no more when it goes down. When Yahweh brings his wrath upon the earth, no one's gonna care about your little opinion, your little vain jamblings, man. But what I think this is what happened. People just lying, wasn't even involved in a certain situation, and might running their mouth and making comment, and then they're not even judging it according to righteousness either. Because if, in another situation, they wouldn't say the same thing. Like all with this whole Shiloh Hendrix BS, right? She was calling some little 5-year-old an N-word, right? But what word would you have used then if it would have been the same race as you? Would you have used the same word? Would you have said that Edomite is acting like an N-word? No, you wouldn't. You would have said, "Oh, they're kids. Yeah, kids make mistakes." Kids make mistakes. But then in this world, it's not no ever. Adults are made able to make mistakes. No, the man's supposed to just be honorable at all times. If a man's in a relationship with a wife that's attitude stinks, she's treating him like trash. He's not even supposed to leave the marriage. The same way how women don't jump up and bounce. He's not supposed to get a next woman when the next woman might have been treating him better. But women don't say that to women though. "Oh yeah, I can see why she left because that woman wasn't treating him good." They don't say that. If a man does something that's violent, they say, "Oh, he should control his anger and his temper." But then they don't say that women and children and anyone that's around men should watch their mouth. They don't ever say that. They don't ever say, "You know what? When you're around men, watch how you're talking to them because they're stronger than you. And if they decide to lose their mind one day, you wouldn't be able to handle what they can do. So watch your mouth how you're talking to them." They don't. I've never heard nobody say that really. Not really, man. That's not like a universally known rule. That's not a thing that people just know. Yeah, when you're around men, watch how you're talking to them. That's not a thing that people say in this world. They don't say that. That's not said. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23 does say, "If Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might, let not the rich man glory in his riches." And all you people in this world that make you arrogant, the things that make you arrogant. "Oh, I'm rich. I don't care what you've got to say. I'm not, and they puff at people and that, and they got arrogance when they're walking on the street, yeah, because they know in the car park they might have a nice car in the car park, and they know that they can get fuel wherever they want. Mate, the same people that you laugh at and disrespect during the day, they're the people that actually fuel them things some of the time. The person that no one don't care about them, they're the people that actually fuel these things, man. And that's why when that lockdown came, everyone was gassing up, trying to gas up essential workers now that might work in a McDonald's or work in a Greg's or work in some fast food chain. But these are the same places that women are normally saying, I don't want to date you if you work here. Saying that's the reason why you only work here. But those were like McDonald's became the hotspot during the lockdown, and people couldn't wait for that place to become open again. But then it would be normally a McDonald's worker any other time that people would be throwing milkshakes through the drive-through window. What you mean you ain't got no chicken nuggets, motherfucker? Throwing the chicken nuggets back at him and all that. I said I wanted sweet and sour sauce. Diving through the damn thing. Diving through the drive-through window. Trying to do pranks. Like people that got time for your prank when they don't. If you don't know somebody, you ain't supposed to try and prank them anyway. Pranks are for people that you know. Not in public as well. In private. If even at all. Because pranks are stupid. And a prank can get your jawbone leaned in the wrong scenario, man. But then there's this whole wannabe YouTuber prank spirit, video spirit. Oh, it's a prank, bro. It's a prank, bro. I was only joking. You don't know the person to be joking with them. So why are you pranking them? They're just in the Walmart, Tesco, Asda, minding their business, trying to buy some groceries or whatever, and you're trying to prank them. Coming up to them with your stupid camera, chatting shit. When all they're trying to do is do what they're trying to get with their vegetables or whatever, man. Get their grows, get some food to eat for their family. And you're there trying to prank them to try and monetize their anger that you're deliberately trying to stir up. You're deliberately trying to, that's what these YouTubers do. These little prank wastemans, man. And one of them used to mess with one of the elders, man. And he doesn't even realize, I seen him on another video, that little punk, man. I seen him on another video antagonizing somebody behind the counter at a fast food place, and he doesn't even know that the person that he was trying to antagonize was trained in MMA to a quite good degree, man, and could have wrapped him up, man. And they escaped judgment then, but they're gonna probably end up getting judged and end up going viral in a way that they don't want to go, man. Little Dennis the Menace waste, man, bro. Verse 24, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and know of me, that I may how to exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth, for in these things I delight, saith Yahweh. And when you really consider it, man, like no matter what, it doesn't matter what level you get to in this society, man, you're always going to be grieved if once you know the scriptures, because you're always going to know what it's supposed to be. Okay, let's say you get a five bedroom house, detached, and you get a bit of land, mate, somebody that you don't know might still walk through your land one day, and then you can't really do nothing about it. But in the kingdom, we're going to really have a detached house, man. We're going to really have it. And most people that would believe in Yahweh Shem Shai wouldn't even have a 5 bedroom detached house. I know I ain't got that. I know I ain't. But even the little that you have in this world, these scumbag people would hope that you even lose that. I'm going to try and do things to try and antagonize you for you to even lose your little that you've got, man. Because this world is full of a-holes, man. And everyone in this world running around antagonist. But then just watch, man, watch. Let me get this. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. It's okay to disrespect men when they're invisibly fixing up your lives. Oh, the bin men come. I was hearing some of the elders and the brothers in London. They was talking about how when people are starting to lose their jobs, and they was going in, man, on all the things they were saying, how people lose their jobs, and how people in like these foreign countries are being trained to prepare, not are being trained, are already trained enough to prepare to do the work that America wants when it comes to all this technology stuff, right? And how AI is going to replace certain people's jobs. So then when one industry gets completely destroyed, it's going to lead to a larger influx of people that do another career. So then it's therefore going to drop the wages of a previous career. And I don't know if these brothers know this, right? I'm guessing they do. But in regards to this whole Birmingham bins thing, right? That's what's took place there. Because there was a certain job when it came to the Birmingham bins thing, right? Where they couldn't really explain why they was having this job title that pretty much didn't seem to make sense. So then they got rid of that job title, right? So then all the people that did that job title had now been fired from that job and been told, okay, you've lost that job, but don't worry, you're going to become one of the regular bin workers now that would normally be on the back of the van putting all these things in the van. I'm in a rubbish trucks, excuse me, right? So then it made there be a larger influx of people that was going to be taking place in one job, and it ended up resulting in, I believe that it said, a £6,000 salary cut for each of those bin workers. Now they ended up losing out, are going to potentially lose out on extra 6,000 because now there's going to be way more people doing the job, so they're not going to be having to do as much work anymore. But them same workers probably previously complained about the other profession. I think it was called like WMRC. I ain't really sure the name, but when I looked it up, because I was like, man, what is it going on with this Birmingham's bin thing? And that's what I found, information I found, that they had taken away one job, so then now there's more people doing another. So then therefore they've reduced the salary on those people's jobs, but those previous bin workers probably used to complain about these people with this other job title that they didn't see as, oh, why are you guys doing that? But then now it's ended up backfiring on them anyway, if that is what took place. But either way it goes, it's still going to go like that, and people are going to start being more and more reduced. Men are going to be reduced greatly in the wars that are getting ready to take place on the earth, which there's already wars that are taking place right now, and the population of men is being decreased. But women and children and everyone is proud now because there's a whole bunch of invisible men that they never have to see and never have to interact with, and are able to just make their lives go smooth. There's men that deliver the things in the trucks when it comes to the food. Every time I see people delivering food to any of these supermarkets, it's always men. Always, right? It's men that are grabbing the garbage and putting it away. It's men that are building up the train stations, building up the buildings. It's the men that are doing all the construction things, man. It's always the men. And then somebody might say, oh, it's not you though. Mate, I guarantee I could train to do it. And I guarantee loads of other men could train to do it. And I guarantee if it was going to be whoever would be the replacement of the men doing it now would be men. I guarantee that would be what would happen. Nothing's expected of women in this world, man, when we're being real. Nobody expects nothing of women, really. There's not really no demands that are expected of women. Women ain't even expected to not unalive their children in this world no more. They're not expected to not have and do that. A woman's got a baby in her womb, and you should think, well, the last person that's going to get rid of it is her. And then they'll say, oh, but what if she was R-worthy though? Yeah, what if she was just a hoe that couldn't close her legs? What about that? What about if she saw that the guy that she liked, that she slept with, had a nice ponytail, and she was like, oh, I wouldn't mind my child having a ponytail like that. And she freed up the leg. She threw the left leg to the left, the right leg to the right, threw him up in the sky, yeah, and let the guy splam her off. Yeah, and I ain't trying to get too graphic, man, but this is what happens, man. Sometimes people have to hear some graphic things to know what's really taking place, man. What about if she was just a hoe and uses the A-bore thing as like a child ejection scheme from her body? What about that? What about that part, man? But nobody wants to speak about that though, do they? They want to try and make excuses and lies and say, "Oh, that's not unaliving people because it's not even a human yet." Yeah, okay. Keep telling yourself that, man. Keep telling yourself that. Like you people don't have this. This world really does not have a clue as to the type of things that are getting ready to come up on this earth, man. They don't have a clue. They really don't have a clue, man. They really think that they're just gonna always be able to just gallivant the street, even though they saw in 2020, late 2019 to 2020 to like 2022, 2023, they saw that the whole thing got shut down. They still don't believe that it would happen again. They don't believe it because these people are blinded, man. They don't believe that there's going to come a situation where women are not going to be able to just run their mouth. They think, oh, there's always going to be some man that will step in and help me. No, there's not, man. And they're starting to even see it, though. And that's why they're on internet always complaining about where's the real men at, hiding from you. That's where the real men are at, man, hiding from you. The real men are being furnished in the flames of fire, man. The real men are gold being tried in the fire, catching hell every single day, and they have the elected the nation of Israel, and they're not gonna want you when it comes time for them to be having their pick of who is and who ain't getting to be a wife of the kingdom, man. The first batch of wives, they're gonna be rejecting you because you ran your mouth too much, man. And y'all are gonna have to deal with the decisions that you made for once in life. It's 2 chapter 15 and verse 6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. And you people have been exercising yourself in all kind of wickedness down here, man. All kind of things. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite them with plagues as before, and destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. And that's what they never expected, man. The strangeness of the salvation, they never expected, but they didn't also expect the strangeness of their destruction. Because at the same time Yahweh Shai comes to save, he's going to come to be dusting people off too, man. Literally turning them into dust. They're going to literally be getting dusted. They're going to be flesh one moment and dust the next. And we ain't going to be able to say to Yahweh Shai, oh, nah, ease up, man. That was one of the good Edomites, brother. Mate, nah. Yahweh Shai is going to know exactly what y'all have did. But you people in this world, you don't know nothing about that, though. Because you're some little punks. The women are wicked, the men are wicked, the children are wicked, and they're all going to get destroyed by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. That's what's going to happen, man. Even Israelites are going to have it happen to them. So how much more the nation that God said he thinks are nothing, or the nation that God said that he hates, which is Esau? If even Israelites are going to get destroyed, and they're the vessels of mercy, how much more everyone else? It says in the scripture, and the righteous shall scarcely be saved. So how much for the others? Roughly paraphrasing it, man. Verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and that's what they don't expect. The sword is drawing nigh to all these people. You got these people complaining, talking about black people on welfare. I've got black fatigue, mate. We've got Edomite fatigue, man. And the thing is, I was hearing one of the apostles go into it, and it was like, mate, we had black fatigue before you. But guess what? Jeremiah had so-called black fatigue before even the batch of Israelites that are alive on earth now. Jeremiah had black fatigue, man. So-called black fatigue ain't excuse me, so-called black fatigue ain't no new thing, man. That's not no new concept. There's no new thing under the sun. Yeah, there's not a new thing under the sun. Wicked women have existed back in the day too. In the book of Esther, that was a wicked woman. Vashti. The king summoned her. She was like, nah, I ain't going. Wicked women have always existed, man. Pharaoh's wife that lied on Joseph. There's always been wicked women lying and conniving that can't handle rejection. That's always been a thing, man. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 2. Oh, that I had oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they be all adulterers and assembly of treacherous men. Jeremiah been had black fatigue, bruh. So don't to be talking like that's not a new. Jeremiah had the so-called black fatigue, but it would have been called a different thing then. Children of Belial fatigue, man. Children, sons and daughters of Belial fatigue. 2/3 fatigue, man. This whole fatigue thing ain't nothing new. But guess what? We got fatigue from you heathens too. So don't try and act like y'all are righteous, because you ain't. In the whole time that the children of Israel have been not keeping the commandments, have you been keeping them? No, you haven't. So shut your mouths, man. Because y'all ain't did nothing more right. You've got a society that you got running, and you want to talk about crimes and what you think the judgment should be. But how come you don't ever say that the world should be governed by Yahweh's laws? You claim that you're a so-called white Christian countries. So how come you don't claim that the world should be governed by Yahweh's laws? Because you know that you ain't prepared to keep them. You know you ain't prepared to keep it, man. So cut the BS. Verse 3. And they bend their tongues like the bow for liars, which that's what Jake do, man. They love lying, man. But so do you heathen love lying as well. But they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth, and that's Jake right now. They're quick to burn out this is why I don't like the Israelites. This is why I left the Hebrew Israelite. The Hebrew Israelites are a cult. I've got black fatigue. You got this Anton Daniels geezer. He's always talking about all the things that so-called black people do wrong, man. But mate, where's his videos out of what Esau does? If he's so-called red pill, mate, then you got to tell the truth on everything. If people can understand that, oh, black fatigue, we've just about had enough of black people going on like this and going like that. Okay, but then can you understand that so-called black people maybe have had enough of what Esau's been doing to them for hundreds of years? Oh, but that wasn't them. That wasn't their generation. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So then it should have died. It should have died and ended with the generation that did it then, shouldn't it? But it seems to have still carried on though. The oppression seems to still have carried on. Oh, y'all have never been a slave. Whatever, man. Whatever. If it's okay for Edomites to complain about some make America great again, right? Then how come we can't complain about wanting to go back to our homeland and have some kind of restitution for things that have happened to us? Oh, nah, y'all don't deserve it. Y'all never, whatever. But by the time it's all said and done, and Yahweh Shai comes back and returns to this earth and does what Yahweh, who is both his and our Heavenly Father, says what should have happened, y'all are going to wish that you just gave the reparations, man. You know, like that would have been better. We should have just gave them reparations, even if it meant that our nation ended up not having no wealth and we had to restart again from the beginning, from the ground up, until ground in Mount Seir. We should have did that instead of what the alternative is going to be, the heavenly judgment from the Heavenly Father. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. Y'all are going to wish you would have just went through and gave reparations, man. You're going to wish you did that instead. Because what's going to happen instead is not something very good. And if you want to know what it is, read the book of Obadiah. Don't rant and rave your mouth to me. Because I ain't got the power to stop the book of Obadiah from coming to pass. I ain't have the power. And even if I did have the power, guess what? I still wouldn't want to do it. I'd still want the book of Obadiah to happen, man. Because that's necessary for peace on the earth. It's necessary, man. For they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith Yahweh. So even Yahweh had so-called black fatigue, man. He's tired of y'all too. But he's tired of you heathens as well. He's tired of Babylon the Great, man. Babylon the Great sins have almost reached unto heaven, man. And I noticed this ever since whatever the conversation was that took place between Apostle Tahar and Apostle Gabar, I believe it was, man. And then I saw a video where Apostle Gabar said to keep on putting up curses on Babylon the Great, man. Ever since that took place, I've really started noticing that America's been getting jacked up, man. Because that means that brothers have been actually listening to those words. Brothers, elders, apostles, they listened and was like, yeah, I am going to add that to my prayer. Yahweh Bar Shem Yahweh Shai, Shalach Royam, upon Babylon the Great, send plagues and curses upon that wicked and sinful kingdom, and remember the covenant you made with our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and please have mercy upon me and those that I care about, in the day of your wrath. Things like that are being said, man. Please have mercy upon me in the day of wrath. Please remember mercy upon me in the day of wrath. Have mercy upon the elders, apostles, and brothers that are scattered near and far off in Babylon the Great and everywhere else in the world where they're scattered, man. Things like that are being said. But what's in the prayers of you so-called Christians, man? What's the please make the Israelites not be right? I really don't want to go into, yeah, whatever. You should have thought about that before you put your hand on the children of Israel then, shouldn't you? You should have considered that then. But y'all didn't think, right? You just thought it was always just going to be your property. But you're finding out now, actually, nah, that's not what's going to happen. And I'm going to end the video there, man. Right? This world does not have a clue as to the heavy judgment that's getting ready to take place on it, man. They don't have a clue. And that's why it's going to be like to these people that the thief came in the night. These people are oblivious to the judgment that's coming, which is the judgment that they actually deserve. Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.